Hi folks, welcome back to Racin-n-Braisin. I am CJ. It is Thursday. Tonight we're going to get into a preview of what is coming up for NASCAR in Texas, as well as talk about what we have seen so far this week, what we're looking for throughout the weekend, and finally round it off with what is going to be on my menu for 400 miles on Sunday. So let's get into it. All right, guys, before we get into the schedule for the weekend, let's talk about what we've seen so far this week after Talladega. First and foremost, if you've been following any of the social media, the pictures of the left behind items in the Talladega infield and campgrounds have been quite amusing. Apparently, it's just getting better and better every year. Post-Talladega reactions, analysis, and commentary about what we saw racing-wise has been very interesting, informative, and I think a little bit controversial. First off, the informative part, I have to give props to Denny Hamlin. As you guys know, I am not much of a Denny Hamlin fan, but I will say the past little while now, I have been making it a point to listen to or watch his podcast, Actions Detrimental. This past week, he did a fantastic job of explaining from a driver's perspective what they're doing inside the car, how they're trying to push. He also delved into the engineering and the physics behind what the next-gen car is doing on the super speedways, and he compared it a lot to not just the previous generation of Cup car, but also the Xfinity car and the big differences between those. And basically what it boiled down to is that this next-gen car on super speedways, drafting-style tracks, just has too much drag. When you're talking about a difference of 196 to 198 mile an hour in a draft versus 183 and 184 mile an hour by itself, that's a big difference. And somebody tries to pull out of line to make a move, they're just going to become giant parachutes when they get out of line and just go backwards. And I felt like Hamlin did a great job of explaining how that worked in the physics aspect of it. Dale Jr. on the Junior Download had some interesting insight into it. Kyle Busch on Door Bumper Clear had a really good perspective on it as well. The racing from Talladega this past week was definitely the talk of all of the major podcasts that all of us listen to. Tear Down, Dale Jr., Door Bumper Clear, and all of the others as well that are now starting to come up. If you guys haven't checked out Parker Kligerman's podcast, that's a fun one to listen to as well. But nonetheless, the independent media of NASCAR, the teardowns and the like, had some pretty harsh criticisms of the racing, and I definitely had my own criticisms of the racing this past week, even though it was kind of what I was expecting. But it was very interesting this week to see NASCAR-sponsored media, NASCAR-run media, put out an entirely different perspective, very positive reaction to what we saw at Talladega, trying to use facts and figures on us to try and sway our opinion to say, hey, it really wasn't that bad. Trying to cite, number of lead changes and number of different leaders as a viable statistic to prove that what we saw last Sunday at Talladega was a good race, and probably pissed off more people than it actually swayed in another direction. Myself included. I'm not saying I'm necessarily pissed at NASCAR and what was said this past week about it, but it definitely feels like what is being said by independent voices is just falling on deaf ears. And, go figure. Typical for the sanctioning body to really not listen to its fan base. Small little rant there about Talladega, the racing, a little bit of gaslighting going on this week between NASCAR media and the rest of the independent media that covers NASCAR. Let's move on and let's dive into schedule for the upcoming race weekend in Texas. All three series are going to be in Texas this weekend. Trucks are going to kick things off on Friday with practice and qualifying on FS2 at 2:30, followed by the Xfinity Series getting their practice and qualifying going at 5 o'clock. That'll be on the CW app. And then finally, the truck race will be on FS1 at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's 250 miles, 167 laps for the Truck Series. In the truck race of note, there will be Brandon Jones joining things in the 1 truck, and Carson Hocevar will also be driving the number 7 truck. Saturday will include Cup Series practice at 11 a.m. on Prime, followed by the Xfinity Series race at 2 o'clock on the CW. And of course, if you're doing the CW hack along with me, PRN is carrying the coverage. So make sure you have the app downloaded on your phone to catch their live radio broadcast. Big news before we move on to Sunday's time. If you heard earlier this week, it was announced that Kyle Larson will be filling in for Connor Zillich in the number 88 car. It was revealed that hard hit that Zillich had on the last lap at Talladega has resulted in a lower back injury. Haven't really seen much as far as specifics go about it, and quite honestly was surprised that it took so long for it to be announced through this week. But Larson will be filling in, and I want to say real quick, Larson better put up or shut up. Remember what he said after Bristol. He wanted to go out there and embarrass everybody. Well, I'm fully expecting Larson to hop into that 88 car and go embarrass everybody at Texas Motor Speedway this weekend. If he doesn't, well, kind of, should be eating his words, right? That's what I think about it. Anyways, Sunday, we have the Cup Series 400-mile race at Texas Motor Speedway at 3:30. That will be on FS1. Something I heard this past week that I think is interesting. Last week's Big Fox coverage of the Talladega race was the last major network coverage of a NASCAR race until they go back to Daytona for the regular season finale, which will be aired on NBC. So everything else up until that point will be held on these affiliate networks. FS1, Fox, in general, Fox Sports only has 3 more races of coverage left, and then we move over to Prime, and I am ready for it. I'm getting a little tired of the Fox coverage. Last week at Talladega, view my previous video, you'll hear me talk all about how the commercials were ill-timed at best. Let's talk about what we're looking for this weekend at Texas. The next-gen car has had 3 races at the Speedway now. The previous winners in the next-gen car have been, of course, Chase Elliott from last year, William Byron from the year before, and Tyler Reddick in an RCR car in 2022. I mentioned Chase Elliott. He has not had a win since. It's been 37 races since then, so a full year of racing since Chase has won a points paying race. Of course, he did win the Clash at Bowman Gray earlier this year. The 9 team overall this year, I think, has done a stellar job. All the Hendrick cars have done really well. He's definitely been around the top 10, top 5 most of the season with very few hiccups throughout the year, so it would not surprise me if he was able to break his winless streak this week. What would surprise me this week of somebody breaking their winless streak would be Kyle Busch. He has not done well at this track, and I can specifically remember several instances of him blowing tires or spinning out at this track. It just does not suit him in this car. The last 8 Texas races have been won by 8 different drivers. The last 6.5 mile races in the next-gen car have been won by 6 different drivers. Chevy has won the last 4 Texas Motor Speedway races. 3 of those wins have come from Hendrick Motorsports. I am looking to see this week if the Chevy dominance at Texas will come to an end, and let's see if a Ford or a Toyota will take over the reins. Chase Briscoe has a pretty good statistical record at Texas, so maybe he's the Toyota that breaks the Chevy dominance. Let's talk about what I'm cooking for the 400-mile event on Sunday. This is the last time that NASCAR will be in Texas for the rest of the season. Of course, earlier this year they were in COTA, and one of my earliest videos was about the Texas style chili that I made for the COTA race using beef and of course no beans. So I'm going to stick along the beef lines, and this time I am going to go with a perfectly seared ribeye steak, and I'm going to put together a little how-to on how I get a perfectly seared ribeye steak together for you guys. So be on the lookout for that sometime this weekend. And of course, Sunday morning, be on the lookout for the next video where on Racin-n-Braisin we talk about the picks that are going to be made in the regular season competition between myself and my mom, what we've seen so far this weekend. So until Sunday morning, guys, I hope you all are having a great week. Enjoy your weekend. Let me know what you guys are thinking about the new background that I've got going on here. Leave a comment down below. Also, comment below and let me know what you guys have on your menu for Sunday's 400-mile event in Texas. Until Sunday, guys, I hope you all are having a good one, and I will catch you all then. Thanks again.